Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who don't know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this, this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades, we do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, we're going to be looking at MMTLP and George Palikaras' recent declaration on FINRA and asking the question, will McCabe bring us a resolution? And we're also going to be looking at providing an important and new legal update, and then finishing off by having a look at earnings for Netflix, which was a significant beat. So stay tuned for that. And before we get started, let's have a look at what's happening in the markets. And we can see right now, according to CNBC, the S&P 500 is wobbling as Wall Street struggles to maintain the comeback momentum. So I think the markets are a little bit still jittery, waiting for this conversation with Jerome Powell that is expected this week, and that will give us an indication of overall sentiment. And from Yahoo Finance, we can see here also in terms of what we're going to look at later on, Netflix stocks hits a record high as the company is touting ad sales ahead of NFL and WWE debuts. And from news in terms of gold, we can see here gold has now broken $2,560 an ounce for the first time in history, and the prices of yellow metals are now up overall 20% this year, and at this rate potentially gold could go to $3,000 within the next 12 months. And finally, shout out here to Quorum Conservative, who are posting again with regard to Nancy Pelosi, and we can see here that the stock that she's invested in, PANW, has now gone up 41% since she's bought it on the 251,000 call options in late February. So she timed it very, very well in terms of the dip. So obviously we can see that Nancy is certainly one of the best traders out there. So I think what's interesting here is the George Palikaras' statement was provided in the case of intercoastal waterways versus FINRA and versus trade stations. So there is an update on that that we're going to be sharing with you shortly as well. So in this statement, which I'm going to summarize here for you, is basically highlighted also key points in red, and that is this case that we're talking about, dated August 16, 2024, declaration of George Palikaras in support of the plaintiff. So before we look at the update of the case, let's have a look at the key points from George's statement. And first of all, he's confirming here basically with regard to FINRA that they notified MetaMaterials that they had unilaterally revised the language of the company's December the 6th, 2022 corporate action. So what I would like to know is, did they notify MetaMaterials in writing, or was this by a telephone call? Because I think if we have this notification in writing, then that would certainly be something that we would need ideally to see a copy of, because that would be certainly very, very useful going forward as well. And he goes forward here, goes on to say that the revision was made without the input or authorization of the company, i.e. MetaMaterials, and took place around about December 7th, 2022. So what George is confirming here is that FINRA acted unilaterally. And he states here he was informed that Meta and NextBridge Council were not invited to participate in the call between FINRA and DTCC. So what I would like to know is when he states he was informed, who exactly informed him? Was this a person from FINRA? And if so, what was the name? And then he goes on to say, December the 9th, 2022, FINRA announced obviously the U3 halt, and then the reason for that was with regard to significant uncertainty. So this is something that is not new. We do know about this. Prior to the U3 halt, he also stated FINRA never stated in any communications that they were going to halt trading. So confirmation that he did not have advance notice, and unlike we could say potentially with regard to the U3 panel. And finally, only after the halt, FINRA added a note to their UPC advisory page. So basically confirmation here that George was not aware of the U3 halt in terms of before it happened and as it happened, and he was only aware of this after, when he saw these details come to light. So in terms of the legal update, what I am now able to share with you is in this case that the judge has denied the steamroller petition for the names of the broker-dealers and market maker who listed MMTLP. So let's have a look at the specifics. So we can see here Supreme Court for the state of New York, New York County, and the judge Shahabuddin Abid Ali has stated in this case that obviously the petitioner nor does the petitioner allege any particularized damages. So that's another key recurring theme. With regard to the trial court, the First Department recognises and refers back to the Kasani case, and they have used that, and they've stated based on the above, the court finds consistent with the court's trial courts and First Department's finding in the Kasani that the verified petition is an improper fishing expedition and must be denied. So they're using that as a precedent for this case, and we can see here obviously obviously the petitioner served a copy of the notice. Order served upon the court will make the in accordance with the procedures set out with regard to the courthouse and the county procedures, clerk procedures for the electronic file case, and is further ordered that any requested relief not expressly granted is denied. Ordered that the clerk shall make motion sequence I decided all court records. It is further and finally that the clerk shall mark this proceeding disposed in all court records. So this is a setback, and unfortunately Mark is not successful. So let's have a look at a response from Busy, who's referred to some let's say controversial statement from Mark with regard to allegedly referring to McCabe. But what Busy has stated that Mark Basile first of all did not call Greg McCabe by name, although it looks like that is who he was referring to. So the implication here is Mark is implying that he was speaking to Greg McCabe, but that is certainly not true. So I think Mark should choose his words very, very carefully here. So the statement that Basile made with regard to McCabe is 1000% incorrect. And first of all, Busy is not happy that he was texting me that BS about 2 months ago, and he's not happy hearing it again today. So this will be referring to one of the space calls. Mark is an attorney and he could use the words "in my opinion." So it looks like Mark is being misleading there. But to blatantly and manipulatively address the MMTLP community and have them believe and think that McCabe's interests do not align with the MMTLP community is reckless and unprofessional, and I would certainly second that and agree with Busy. And he's been in numerous calls with Greg McCabe, and I think the key point I'd like to focus on here is with regard to the resolution, and he states here he will continue to support McCabe to bring a resolution to the MMTLP fiasco, and I think all of us are certainly waiting for that to happen as well. Finally, we're going to finish off by having a look at ticker symbol NFLX, also known as Netflix. So this, the news in terms of Netflix was there was a significant earnings beat, and in our stock news channel on the Discord, we shared the news that Netflix has hit an all-time high after a 150% jump in upfront ad sales. So that's tremendous news for Netflix. So let me re-emphasize that 150% surge in upfront commitments for this year, thanks to partly to the NFL games specifically, and in terms of successful negotiations from Netflix. So let's have a look at the chart here. We can see it did break the $700 mark earlier today, and at one point reaching $704. So let's have a look at the income statement in terms of the revenue. So the key revenue here, we can see 4.3 billion, 3 billion, 1.2 billion, 1.1 billion from worldwide sales. Gives a total revenue of $9.6 billion. So gross profit 4.4 billion, operating profit 2.6 billion, giving them an overall net profit of 2.1 billion with a cost of revenue of $5.2 billion. So excellent figures here from Netflix, and what's also positive is that the outlook for the future with this potential advertising deal is really looking good. And finally, if you would like to get breaking news and information live with regard to stocks such as APDN, which we're currently seeing up in excess of 400% on the week, called out in the Discord and also covered in the recent videos, you can certainly join us. Details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.